Alright, g'day everyone. Here we are in our live stream today. I had a little bit of technical difficulties to begin with, but I think we're all ready to go now. I'm just going to check a few places just before we begin, and I forgot to have my list of things that I need to do for you guys to make sure that I'm on top of everything. So we're going to quickly search that up in my lovely little note-taking app, and we're going to remember where I put it so I don't forget it again. But essentially, it's going to be rather interesting today, where we have a lot of fun stuff going on, talking about a couple of niggling subjects that are a little bit interesting, but if you're on the Instagram live stream, you saw a little bit of that ahead of time. So we're going to go live, and on our live stream kit, my notes have proven me. Are you going to help me, notes? I would prefer... no. Damn you, notes. I know, riveting live content. Hashtag re-streamers. How are we going? Yes, I know this is a rather interesting thing to start off with, but hey, things happen. As long as I give you something helpful with today's actual video, then it'll actually come out great. Did I remember to... One of these days I'll actually remember where I put stuff. So for those, well, I haven't actually informed anyone yet. All right, there we go. No, that's not it. I have a new system. I used to be using Trello for a while, and then I just found that I compounded a whole bunch of unnecessary notes and a whole bunch of unnecessary... live to do. There we go. So I had a whole bunch of unnecessary notes in my Trello that I just couldn't find stuff. I was using the review tool and I really couldn't find anything. So what I did was we're going to send to a group. So what I did was I started group name. Why would you ask for a group name, Facebook? This is not the time. Video conference crew, beautiful. So yeah, I would put everything together, and now I've kind of moved everything to a big block on my Notion, which I'm currently using because it's giving a little bit of flexibility, things to move things, kind of a little bit more papery. With Trello, you are set in your ways in regards to where you're putting things and how you're organizing everything out, and then with Notion I've got a little bit more. It can go over here, I can put it over here, I can put it into a table, but then put it over here, correlate information. I'm finding it quite useful, but I haven't gone through all that data that may or may not be defunct depending on what I've done. So we want to say hello again and welcome everyone to the live stream, because you know it worked out so well. The first, how long have we been streaming for? Yeah, like the first 3 minutes so far. So let me start again. G'day everyone. Hashtag reams. Yes, this is what it's like today, and yay, fun times. G'day everyone, it's Zoe the Video Confidence Coach here on this weekly live stream. Woo! I Want to Know, which is our title. And today we're talking about the fear of rejection, or the fear of not having an audience at all, or having too much of an audience, and the fear of being rejected both ways. The reason I want to mention that to people is that a lot of businesses and a lot of people starting with video have a tendency of having a lot of fears or prejudications before they begin. But before I start doing stuff today, I'm going to be putting on my lips because, as you can see, I'm a little bit naked today, both on my face and on my lovely backdrop. So for everyone joining the stream new, and for the Instagram live crew, I've already explained this to you guys. Unfortunately, they moved my backdrop. So what I do is I have a nice shiny material backdrop that's really pretty and I really like it, and it makes me feel like a makeup guru, even though I don't do a whole lot of makeup stuff. And what it does is that I simply drape it over a whiteboard, clip it in a few places with some large, I forgot what they're called, faucet pins, I forgot what they're technically called, but clips. And then I just kind of stretch it a couple of material out of the way and just drape it across. And today in the studio they had a shoot on. So usually most times the studio itself is quite clean most of the time, and it's usually ready to go. There's just a few things. And when you've got 2 people working here almost every day, sometimes you've got, bits and pieces that come everywhere. G'day, Matthew. So every now and again you get a few things lying around the studio that you need to clean up, so you clean that up. And then when I came in this afternoon to get ready for this live stream, it had gone. And they moved it to the workshop space, which I'll be holding, wink wink, I'll be holding a workshop on Thursday and next Wednesday. But I don't have keys to that room to access it. So the problem is I can't actually access the room to get it out before we begin our live stream today. So Luke, being, the genius that he is, decided, okay, I'll just draw you a backdrop because, it's a whiteboard, might as well. So we did. And I forgot to mention that because of the way this is currently shot, I might in the future use like a DSLR, get a better shot and such. But for right now, this is more of a proof of concept, say for the next 3 months, to see how I go with live streaming and if I quite enjoy it. But behind me, you can't probably really see. And it's a little bit strange because I'm trying to make sure that you don't get too much glare in either the webcam where the YouTube and the Facebook live stream is coming through, or on the Instagram live stream end. I don't want to get too much glare from my lights, and usually because if you use fabric, there's usually less glare on the backdrop. But on here, video confidence coach, we've got rejection crossed out and we've got faces because it's cool. And in the corner, which I think you can see on the wider frame but not on the Instagram frame, it's at Lives on a Train, which is his handle. So if you liked this work behind me, you can check out his work. There's a lot of great VR stuff and a lot of interesting projects that he's got going on, which is great to see. A lot of people and a lot of, frankly, government businesses getting involved with actually getting onto VR, which is a nice change. So what we're going to do is I'm going to forget about doing my lips. So usually I do my lips ahead of time, and with these lips I usually get it all done and get it all sorted. And I realised that technically I could just quickly pop on a set of lipsticks, nice and quick and easy. That's not my usual lipstick that I use, because usually I have something that wears quite fast. Like I can wear it for an entire day, it's not going to smudge. When I move around or when I sweat, when I inevitably sweat, it's not going to go anywhere. So I'm just going to use this one today. I've got a mirror just down beside me quickly, and I'm just going to do this and welcome everyone again to the streams. So if you do have any comments, I haven't quite figured out the commenting system just yet on this little guy. So if you do leave any comments, and if I do miss it, I do apologize. I will do my best to make sure that I keep up with any comments and make sure that I address them in future future content. Check out the Video Confidence crew while you're there. But I can't seem to get any of beautiful little comments or any of that nature, which is a bit strange. But we will carry on with the show. So I'm just going to quickly clean my lips, which in other words, brush it down, make sure there's no food on it. But I haven't exactly eaten today, so there's just less chance of that. Of course it's back to front because it's Instagram. Thank you, Matthew. I'm just answering some comments because I just realized that you can't really read it because it is back to front. Because Instagram does this weird thing where it kind of mirrors, for some reason, what's been seen, which is very stupid. But welcome everyone from Instagram Live, while I put my lipstick on for a couple of seconds. So I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna do that. Yeah. You're gonna be a bit hot today. And then I'll go down like that. Yeah, you do. So usually what I would do with my lipstick is that I'd have a little, almost like a heart shape, or a geisha is what people have referred it to. It's just a style that I like the look of. I'm not trying to copy anyone or appropriate anyone's culture or religion. I'm just kind of just put on my face. G'day, Meryl. How are you? We need to chat about your podcast, and we will do that soon. Probably next week, or whenever I will email you. Probably email you after the stream. So, what I'll do is that I'll invite you all to share, tag, and invite anyone who would be interested in the content that we're talking about today. We're talking about the fear of rejection. So anything that has to do with being feared about what people will say about you or of you, or just ignore you entirely. A lot of people, thank you, Meryl. A lot of people do have that inherent fear when it comes to video making. Either they've tried it in the past and they weren't really happy with the results that they got when they first tried it, or they've seen what happens to other people in either that they're close to, or people that they idolize or see as celebrities or people in the mainstream, and they don't like the reactions that people have gotten out of it, which I do not blame you at all. It does happen, and it can happen when, something that they've said comes back to bite them, or their video content gets a bad rapport from one reason or another. And I'll address that all in today's live stream. So I've got my little quick script here. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I've actually updated the look of it, so it looks very different to what it is here. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And I will talk about that in the break. So just to let you know. But I highly recommend that if you know anyone who is afraid of doing video content because they're afraid of the backlash or afraid of what people will say or do because of the content they're producing, just like and share them or tag them in this video on your platform of choice, of course, and we'll get them to ask some questions during the live stream, because again, we do this every week on a Tuesday night, so we'll always be here and we'll always be here to answer your questions. I'm doing my best and make sure I pretty much got everything on hold in regards to answering people's comments, but if I do miss your comment during the live stream, I do apologize, and I will rectify it in a beautiful way by doing a video about it in the future. So I think I've repeated the intro 10 minutes in. We're about 10 minutes in. I've repeated the intro. Let's go. So if anyone wants to know what I'm referring to, on my left-hand side, I've got a little note tab that says, okay, this is what you do, and not in regards to a step-by-step measurement. It just gives me dot points. Okay, remember to, get people to subscribe. Make sure you get people to comment, like I'm going to do now. I'm going to ask you guys to comment below with what's a nice relaxed question, because I don't immediately want to ask you guys, hey, do you guys fear rejection or what people will say about your videos? I don't want to go that hard. I'm not a therapist. I do not want to go that hard on you guys. But a good thing to ask you guys is about any questions no, that's a bit too broad. I really need to think about this beforehand. Usually my go-to questions are, what you're having for dinner, how's the weather where you are, but I feel that's a little bit chilled and a bit relaxed for a Tuesday night. But what I will ask is, are you guys having any dessert? Because recently coming back from my health issues, let's call it that, I had a bit of an interesting time with my taste buds due to my treatments. I had a bit of interesting times with my taste buds where for a period of time everything kind of tasted meh, like bland. It didn't really taste like much when tasting like fairly aromatic foods like garlic, and then for a good want them to subscribe, Meryl. Yes, I definitely want them to subscribe to me and check me out and all that stuff. #subscribe squad. Woo! So yes, we definitely want people to subscribe to Video Confidence Coach, and check out Meryl too on the Aussie Baby Boomers, Aussie Travel Baby Boomers YouTube. So I'll check that out. Feel free to correct me in the comments, Meryl, because I will remember the full title of your. Usually when I let people know about your channel in particular, Meryl, I give them that phrase and they end up finding you. Dami is discussing dessert just now. Pow pow. Yes, let's discuss dessert. So where was I going with that? I was going somewhere with that, wasn't I? Yes. In regards to taste buds, I had an injury to my treatment. There was a 2-month period. Yes, Aussie Boomers Travel. Yes. Thank you, Meryl. Meryl's just commented on an Instagram live stream about her YouTube channel, which I thoroughly enjoy watching. About travel, but essentially aimed with the target audience in mind of boomers and people in that baby boom generation. You want to make sure that when you travel, you're not a 21-year-old that can, hit the floor, bounce back up and keep running. And definitely at this point, I feel that's that same way. All right, back to I need to make sure I actually pay attention to my story sometimes. So there's a period of time about this year where for about 2 months, all I could really taste was metallic. So, which meant that anything that I ate had an inherent metal taste, like almost putting a penny, like your mouth full of pennies. And it wasn't terrible. Like after a while, you kind of be like, you got used to it. But also after a while, you just kind of, everything just kind of gave you that sensation. And then it took me a while to really trust my body and trust myself again, going, yeah, you can eat food. And now I'm in a little bit of that limbo state where I'm not entirely sure if I've got all my taste buds back or my range of taste back, because people that go through the same treatment as me sometimes they lose their taste altogether. Sometimes they lose aspects of bitterness or umami or anything. Or anything that's inherently like that. So I'm in a little bit of the midst in regards to if that's the case for me. Right now, everything I'm tasting is there. I can remember it. I'm not sure if it's a combination of a smell thing and my brain's coming up with the taste. But right now, I can smell it. And when I'm tasting it, it's kind of like a distant memory of the taste. So right now, I don't have any pungent flavors. Like when using like garlic, I'm aware that it's got allicin and it's got a bit of bite to it, but it just kind of doesn't have much impact. And I'm not sure if it's always going to be this way. But the reason I want to ask you all that round saying is that I want to ask you guys what you're having for dessert. So, are you having a nice mousse? Are you having, a healthy dessert of like dip and carrots? Or are we talking like chocolate or like a cheesecake? I tried a cheesecake recently. It was nice. Thanks for asking, Matthew. I think I can taste sugar. It's one of those things of kind of like having what's a good analogy? Having the taste of like, kind of like, what's the best way? I think I can taste sugar. When I was eating the cheesecake a couple of days ago, I could definitely, taste it was a cheesecake that it tasted pleasant. I think it was tasting sweet. So I'm pretty sure most of my taste buds are there. They're just a little bit dulled down because of treatment. So this may be the way that I am now going to be using my taste buds, and that could possibly change in the future. We'll see how we go. But the sugar seems to be a fairly decent taste, but it's not, bed and butter pudding, I think, I homemade. Well done. You have been doing cooking. I may have fallen off the wagon when cooking for myself, but I'm going to get back on the wagon soon enough. But yes, Matthew is going to have bread and butter pudding, and that's a good idea. And I've also got some comments from, they're about 8 minutes old. Sorry, Jake. I promise I will do my best to make sure I follow all your comments, but if there is any delay, I apologize for that. Right, I don't think I'm missing too many others. So I've got a couple of comments of what do we do if we see bad comments? How do we react? Looks good on Facebook. Thank you for that, Jake. So in regards to answering that specific question, what I'll do is I'll answer Jake's question and we'll move straight on to the script that I have prepared. If you have any questions specifically about rejection or the fear of rejection, feel free to comment below on your platform and I will answer, and then maybe take a break in about 10-20 minutes and we'll talk about some stuff coming on. So what do we do if we see bad comments? And how do we react? So for your case, Jake, and for most people in general, when you're creating content, be it video, be it posts, be it blogs, whatever content happens and you put it out there, you are essentially putting it out there for the masses to see. They may see it and react positively, they may see it react negatively, or a large majority of cases, people see it and won't react at all. And it's not because they're being malicious or ill-informed or with malice intent. It's usually because we've all got busy lives. We've all got a lot of things happening. Yes, I'm simultaneously live streaming, Matthew, using a system called Restream.io. I'm currently using the free platform just to see how it works and if there's any major kinks that I need to be worried about before I start paying for the full product. So check that out, Restream.io. Since Zoe sent you, so maybe I might get some payback eventually, an affiliate link. To continue with your question, Jake, in regards to when you're putting this content out, for the people that will comment, actively go out, to your content and comment underneath it bad or negatively. So imagining when you're asking that question, you're talking about negatively as, or when they say bad comments, would be ones that are derogatory in nature, the ones that attack you, how you look, or how you are personally, or even attack, friends and family, which God forbid if they do, or thank you, Matthew, or if there's any, or if I think that's what you're referring to in regards to bad comments. And the way that you react is, there's a myriad ways of how you can react to bad comments, and I'll just go through a couple of ways you can do that. So number one is ignore. So depending on how large of an audience you have, say for example, if you've ever jumped onto G'day Andrew, nice to see you. If you've ever jumped on a live stream and you've seen that there's like hundreds of comments just swooping by you on the screen, or there's just like, you look, the live stream, or the video's just been posted and you see like 1,000 comments, inherently there's going to be trolls or people that are unhappy to, exist. And they do, they spurt out negative content, make negative remarks, negative comments, inherently just to get a reaction out of someone. That's all they really do it. They do it because they think they're funny, or they do it because they want to maliciously hurt someone or attack someone. Same way that, if you remember from, I don't know, back in the day, and I do mean back in the day, in say daycare, primary school, around that area, and I'm sure every school had one, where there was someone who just was a bad kid, but not for the sake of, I'm just a bad kid because I don't know no better. I'm a bad kid because I want attention, and I know acting badly will get me the attention. And that's the same thing, and these people haven't exactly grown out of that mindset, and that's usually why they troll and, make these inherently negative comments, and usually they do it on places where they know they're going to be seen. So on celebrities, politicians, anywhere that that content is being produced, there's inherently going to be negative comments of some sort. And most of these people at that level just ignore it, and most people do. But for your case, or anyone who is starting their careers in content creation, or is beginning to create their content, having bad comments can go one of two ways. One, you can react to it, you can respond to it in a dignified manner. So you can do this by, replying to most comments, making sure that you don't swear, that you don't derogatorily put them down either. The same way, like I said, you would treat that little kid from daycare or primary school, you wouldn't initially give them any attention. And if you did have to give them attention for any sort of reason, you would, I don't want to say belittle them. You wouldn't give them any negative attention, because that would give them a reason or a prompt to act out, to aggressively attack you in some way. You don't really want that. And not because, this person doesn't deserve it. It's just more of a case of, you don't really want your content to be a breeding ground of hate and attacking and people of that nature. You don't really want to draw those people in. So the way you would go about it is that you would just simply state the facts of, if they're attacking you for some reason, just simply state the facts of, it does not matter what you say, or, say for example, there was one gentleman that I got on a YouTube comment a while ago who was commenting me about my lipstick. And for those who are earlier in the stream, you saw me put my quick lipstick on. So this is my quick lip. So it's quick. I'm not touching it, because if I touch it, it's going. But a lot of people saw that comment, and he was derogatory about my lip and how I looked. And I'm like, I don't really care. I like how I dress. It's about me and what I want to do, so I don't really care what you think. And when doing that, I simply put down the bottom, this coming from the man with no face. So I took the human route, for example. I took the humor route, for example. So his account didn't have any videos, didn't have any images. It looked like a fairly new account. It had only like 2 months old. So it might be one of those troll accounts or something like that. And I got a comment like that, and I said, coming from, the man with no face, and then just left it at that. And then I got something like 85 likes on that comment, because I took him down and he didn't respond. Now, of course, that could have gone out of hand. He could have... But that is inherently quite immature, and a lot of people who are in that nature, or are wanting to attack you in that sense, if they do go off the rails, if they do get overly aggressive for any particular reason, block them, delete them, kick them on out, report them to the platform that you're on, because a lot of these places and a lot of these social platforms don't want any negative press, preferably. And in this world where anyone can join a social media network, you want to make sure that you can rise above the negativity. But if it's getting to the point where, say, for example, the comments that you're addressing are negative, they're derogatory, they attack a race, culture, sex, gender, state of being, when they are attacking, say, for example, I've had comments in the past during live streams, during other points of content creation that attack myself. And for that, really, I don't really comment. I usually ignore as my best tactic, or just delete the comment if it's an issue. Usually I diffuse it with humor if I just feel like, I can just kind of jab that one in. And that's usually the way I do it. But most of the time, like Matthew says in the comments below, you want to rise above it. If they look like they're an idiot on their own, no need to feed their negativity. And that is totally true. And most of the time, it'll die on its own. They'll move on to the next thing, and that's it. And if it is an issue for you, do delete it. Because, there's no need for it to be causing any, grievances or any blackness in your soul for any particular time. They're not going to be, The best way to think about it is if they're not taking the time to be on, what's the word I'm thinking of? I will come up with the right saying. If they're not taking the time to think about you, then you don't have the time to think about them. And that's usually the same thing. These people that, inherently think or focus on, they focus on these type of people, or they focus on those type of comments. Usually it's not inherently a bad thing, and there's a lot of people out there who are quite famous, or who've created a lot of work and have a little nice backlog worth of work. Thank you for skipping to another device for me, Matthew. Usually they have a tendency of concentrating on these negative comments because they can get 1,000, they can get 99% positive comments, but that one negative comment is really going to get to them and feed their imposter syndrome. Hint, new video. That's going to be a new video coming up soon where we're going to talk about imposter syndrome, which I'll get to in the next coming weeks. But in regards to how do you react, you've got a fair few options, and I've already mentioned them so far. But the options that you probably want to go with is 1, ignore them because who cares. 2, block, delete, and report. If there is an issue where they are attacking yourself, someone or they're just being inherently mean, then go. 3, a reply. So you can reply, like I said, with humor, or you can reply with facts, or you can just reply and let them know, hey, this kind of comment isn't acceptable. Can you please not do it in the future? Something as simple as that. And usually when they're shut down like that, they don't know what to do. They don't know how to get up. Nope. And they don't know how to get up any further. So that's one thing that I definitely would do. And like I said, if you find that this comment is really eating at you and you're not finding that you're sitting well with it, and you've already deleted it and so forth, like you've blocked it, you've gotten rid of it, then talk to someone about it. Find if you said that, hey, someone commented on my latest video that, I look like a dipshit. Then, okay, that's a very hurtful thing to say. And then talk with someone. Talk to your friends, your partners, your dogs. My dogs are quite willing to listen, especially when I have a piece of bread in my hand. But just talking about it with someone now enables you just to get that thoughts out of your head. And the usual reaction from them would be, no, you're not a dipshit. And if they do say the opposite, then, ignore them just for a little bit. If they're doing it maliciously, of course. If they're doing it for fun, give them a bit of a hit and then get the right answer from them. But when people, like I said before at the start of this little paragraph I'm talking to you about, the inherent fact of people putting down other people online is because they are anonymous. It's because there are no repercussions or consequences. There are no consequences for their actions. The same person, like that little kid in daycare and primary school, if they can get any sort of reaction, especially negative ones, they're going to do it. And it doesn't matter if they have any consequences or any reactions from it. So that's the same thing with you. If it's not an issue for you, don't do anything about it. Ignore it. Report. Delete, report, or block, and then reply if you so want to. And that's usually how you deal with negative comments, Jake. And like I said to Jake and to anyone joining the scream, my words are so great tonight. I'm so glad I took most of today off. I didn't. I got here at like 7 a.m. and then went to get jabs. But for everyone who's joining the stream recently, we are talking about fear and rejection. And I just did, I answered Jake's question about what do we do if we see a bad comment, and how do we react? And this is mainly focusing on your own content. I don't usually recommend getting into these type of biffs and bashes when dealing with other people's content, mainly because they will deal with it in their own time. And if they're in a state or a possibility when they can't deal with those comments in their own time, you can go in and help, but keeping in mind that it's not your place to really do it unless, you know, you're knowledgeable about a subject and you feel like putting up a fight. So I'm just going to check on the live stream and see how everyone's going and doing. I hope everyone's enjoying themselves so far. We're halfway through the live stream today. I managed to get some lippy on and we're enjoying ourselves. And I haven't even gone to my script yet, but essentially all the stuff that I've been talking to you guys for the past half hour essentially has touched on everything that I've put into my little script here. But what I want to talk to you, I'm going to take a little break, so if you want to, you can take a little break from the stream, but I wouldn't recommend that you do, because this Thursday is going to be our Video Made Easy workshop as part of the Geelong Small Business Festival. So you may have been seeing a shit ton of posts from me about that, because it's biggie. So we've only got like 2 spots available for the workshop left. And what I will be giving to my workshop patrons are these. So recently I got them, I mentioned them in the last live stream, and I'll be putting them together in little baggies ready for Thursday. But essentially it's a tripod with a tripod mount to hold a phone. Okay, my face. And what this does is that you essentially put this together and lock it in place and essentially put your phone in here. I can't demonstrate right now because I've got, I'm using my phone right now for a live stream on Instagram. Ooh. G'day, Annie. But what I'm going to do is I'm quickly going to grab a phone and show you what it does. So the reason why I give these little guys out at my workshops is because people find that when doing videos, especially for themselves or even starting out with videos, they're inherently coming up with excuses. Not because they're malicious or because they're just not because they're lazy, is because they're inherently, you're thinking as a human, when you're trying anything new or jumping out of your comfort zone, you're inherently going to be thinking of the negative, the consequences, the mistakes, because your body wants to protect itself, no matter how ludicrous that may think in hindsight. And when it comes to video production, one of the major hurdles for a lot of people is that I don't have the equipment. I can't do it because I don't have the stuff for it. And this little stuff that I put together, put your phone on here, and then you can put it together, on the table at the workshop, put it together in under 20 seconds. People will inherently not lose a whole bunch of fear, but they'll inherently think, okay, I can do this. And then they think about all the other fears and reasons why, like the fear of rejection, like we're talking about today. And that inherent feeling of, okay, now I got to think about that too. But that inherent fear of, oh, I can't do this. I don't have the gear for it. I won't look professional. I won't do this, or I won't do that. You've got this guy ready to go. And because it's part of the workshop, you have no excuse to utilize it. So this is what it looks like. He's got little grippy feet down the bottom. It comes in black, red, and blue. And now, because my hand is not a table, I'm not a great demonstrator, but this is what it will look like. And because of the way that it looks, you can wrap around the legs around a pole, a banister, a bookshelf. You can wrap it around almost anything. And of course, these guys are on the cheaper end in the sense of, they weren't cheap for me. I bought them, but there's a lot more higher, more expensively, more durable items is the word I'm trying to come up with there. But to get you guys started and to get people who come to the workshops, to get them started, they're great to get you going. So what I want to know from you guys is, would you like to purchase one of these? Of course, I'd be offering other things as well in the bag. I have to think about what those guys are, but probably say maybe a YouTube a YouTube course to go with it, or something along those lines. But I want to be able to give you guys the opportunity to do it yourselves. So let me know in the comments below if you have anything that you would like to get one of these for yourselves, and then I can offer it to you, send it to you with a link to our latest online course, or whatever it is. You let me know. But this is what we're going to be doing on today, and this is what it looks like. I'm so pretty. So we're going to leave you there, and hopefully I'm not going to knock you over. We're going to see how we go. But yes, so as I said, for this little guy, the workshop is on this Thursday. I am so ready to go. Got my injection, so I feel so much pain. Oh my god. Supposedly the anesthetic is worn off, but I don't feel it just yet. But I'm ready for it. And then next week on the Wednesday, we'll be having a podcasting 101, a profitable marketing strategy workshop being held by me and Jürgen Strauss. Yes, the Jürgen Strauss from InnovaBiz, who runs a podcast who's on like episode 210. G'day, long cables. And we'll be running that next Wednesday. So if you're interested in podcasting and you want to check it out and see how to get started, then check out that on the Eventbrite, or you can check out the links on my bios or any of the posts that I've posted, because I have links absolutely everywhere. And I put those landing pages out so you have all the information at your fingertips. And you don't have to purchase if you don't want to, but it is the lowest that it's ever going to be. We're doing it as part of the Geelong Small Business Festival, and therefore it's a lot cheaper than we would if we were doing it as of. Yeah. So, I've got about 20 minutes, and I've got the rest of the script to go through for today's podcast. I am thinking about making this a podcast as well. Let me know if you like that, for the rest of today's live stream. But we're going to make sure. Yes. So Matthew, if you would love one, let me know, and I'll put one together for you and ship it out. And then you can do a couple of videos for me and let you know how you like it. Maybe give me a review. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Because, we love reviews, and that's what we live for. But what I want to talk to you guys today about, as I've said on the title, and as I've mentioned a few times now, is I want to talk about the fear of rejection. As humans, there is an inherency that we don't want to be rejected. And as I did in the last live stream, and a couple of you commented in real life in a couple of DMs to me, DMs being direct messages and inboxes, a couple of you mentioned to me that, hey Zoe, you seem to be mentioning a lot about what we were like as, humans, cave. I don't like the idea of using cavemen and women, mainly because inherently not all of us were like that, but ancestors, older versions of humans, the ones that didn't have to worry about all this internet stuff. They all just had to worry about living and producing, and that was pretty much it. And to tell you the truth, that's pretty much what we're up to now. But inherently, humans want to stay inside their comfort zone, only to reach out when there's an inherent, what's the term? Good thing to gain from it. So, humans back then, they wouldn't travel unless they found a need to, as in, there's no food here, let's move on. Or, humans found a better way of living, they got fitter, healthier, their children were stronger, their children lived longer because they reached outside their comfort zone and then pulled back into their comfort zone what they needed to do. And that's essentially what I teach my workshopees, my participants, guys in the Video Confidence crew on Facebook, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, join, and anyone who I work with when one-on-one coaching. I try to expand that comfort bubble, as I like to call it, just a little bit to get you to the points that you want to achieve something. And that's what I want to do with myself, but also with the clients that I work with. And that's the same thing in regards to thinking about your fears. When you're thinking that, okay, I'm going to do a video today, what runs through your head in regards to what's stopping you? What are you afraid of? Are you afraid of, okay, I won't look good for the camera, I won't look professional, I don't know what to say, I'm going to stuff up, I'm going to make a mistake, I'm going to look like an idiot? And one that a lot of one use for me is I don't know how to get started. I don't even know where to begin. Come to the workshop Video Made Easy this Thursday. But one that always gets me as well is the fear of backlash or the fear of rejection from your community, viewers, or customers. And for a lot of people, that can be quite crippling when you're out of control of something. So say, for example, you've sat down, you've come up with scripts, you've gone through the method, put everything, you've done everything to a T, you've edited the video, put it all together, ready to go, and now you just need to upload it. And you sit there looking at that little button that just says publish, and you're afraid. You're afraid to push that publish button, not because, you're weak, not because you're, a wuss, or not because anything like that, but you're afraid of what the world will do with your content, will do with your face, will do with your voice. And for a lot of celebrities out there, most of them have gotten over this fear quite quickly because, the World Wide Web will do what it wants. But for business owners, there is that inherent, I don't want to say weight, but that inherent feeling and knowledge that if I screw up, it just doesn't impact me, it impacts the brand, it impacts my employees and their lives. But the fear of rejection is usually sometimes revolving around that backlash of what you've said or the points you're making or anything like that. But the fear of being rejected by your audience is another big fear for a lot of people. And there are two forms of rejection, or I like to think on the spectrum, there are two different ends. So there's the rejection of, say, for example, when you're getting first started, or say, for example, like a lot of people, you've been doing, videos for a long time online, and you're not getting the traction that you want to. We can get into SEO and all that other stuff in other future videos. But there's then the inherent rejection of, I'm putting my content out there, I'm telling my friends, my family, my customers, my potential customers, and their dogs that my content is out there ready to view for you to contact me. And nothing is happening. And there is their inherent rejection feeling, that feeling of, oh, I'm being rejected, no one likes me, no one likes my content, no one likes me. Oh. And that links heavily to the imposter syndrome that I was discussing a little bit before. So the imposter syndrome that it's heavily linked with is the feeling that you are not good enough, that you're feeling that you didn't deserve what you have accomplished so far. So say, for example, you are 20 years in your industry. That's one thing to be proud of. But a lot of people that I've met, that I've talked to, and even clients that I've had in the past, feel like that doesn't mean anything. That they've got all this industry knowledge from the past, and they're constantly, bettering themselves, learning, adapting, getting more information from the industry to apply to their work and for their clients. But they feel like they're not achieving anything. They haven't accomplished anything. And as soon as, no one watches their live stream or no one watches their video, or God forbid, which is at the other end of the scale, that someone, posts a bad comment or threatens them or says that they're a terrible person for the content they've created, that's just proving that imposter syndrome right, that, oh, I'm not worth the ground I stand on. I'm a terrible human being. And that happens to almost everyone who posts content out there, no matter how narcissistic or egotistical you may think some, young whippersnappers or even people your age or in other businesses are, if you think they're being egotistical. That feeling of being rejected from people that you don't know is a large fear. Now, at the other end of that scale of being rejected for, having no traction at all, to all the way at the other end where you have, like I mentioned before, those terrible negative comments that are posted under your videos, that are posted online. Okay, Justin Brown, congratulations on your live stream today. I will be watching the other two today. On those... I just got distracted by Justin Brown. Hi. So that fear of rejection on the other end of the scale, where you discuss, or when you check out and look at, you're worried about when people make bad or negative comments. So these comments can range all the way from, one word, fail, to more or less savory words like swear words, all the way to, discrediting you, your company, your knowledge, or just attacking you in some way, or... No worries, Justin. Or I don't want to say attacking you maliciously. Usually most of these guys are called trolls, and they're doing it for the fun of it. They're doing it because, as I mentioned at the start of this live stream, most of these people that make these negative comments that aren't trying to voice their opinion or aren't trying to prove you wrong because, you know, they think differently than you. It could be anything about industry news. But that young little child that you remembered from daycare or from primary school, where all the, you know, they would, you know, push people over, they would kick people, they would, you know, inherently do negative or bad actions just for the sake of attention. And that's the same things that these guys are doing it online. They're posting these, you know, negative, bad comments on your content because they know A, it will be seen, and B, people will react to it. And that's what they want. And because they're not there in real life, anything that they do is not going to have inherent consequences, except for the rare occasions when, you know, it bites them in the ass. Or, you know, I think there was a story, I think either earlier this year or late last year, where a comment was made on a celebrity in America, and this celebrity managed to track down the person, call up their boss, like call up this person that posted their boss, and got them fired. And that's an extreme. That's definitely not going to happen for most of you guys, and hopefully never will. But the people that are posting these comments are doing it because there's no consequences. If they do something bad or negative, what are you going to do? Comment below? You know, delete, block, or just ignore it? Just ignoring it is going to be not blow to their ego is the best way to say it, but it's inherently going to be the hardest thing for them to fathom. It's just like, oh, I've just said you're a poo. You're not going to say anything? You're not going to do anything? And that's essentially what they are. So whenever you see those bad comments, like I said, on the other end of the scale, when you have no comments to bad comments, just ignore them most of the time, and most people do. I think Justin can probably attest to, if you ever get any negative comments on, say, YouTube, Facebook, or any of the other social platforms that you work on, and usually ignoring them, because most people will overlook them. And most of the time, when you're building your community, like I said, when creating a community, it's going to take a very long time to do so, and it's going to take a few, you know, months, years, what have you, to create a community. Usually a community will take down that comment for you because they will see it as inherently negative or blasphemous. Rejection, on the other hand, in regards to people voicing their opinions or stating facts. And when I say voicing opinions and stating facts, I mean, say, for example, what's a good one? Okay, so say, for example, I mention a statistic about, like, you know, 80% of people watch video content on their mobile phone. That's a good statistic. It's around about that time. And then someone comments below, no, actually, it's 85. Well, okay, cool. Thank you for the comment. You're adding to the conversation. Always try and take things in a positive light. Now, say, for example, that may have not been the best example, but other examples like that where it's not inherently trying to attack you, your company, or, you know, friends and people. They're just trying to lay down the facts. And sometimes that's really what they just want to do. They just want to, you know, lay down the facts and be that, you know, righteous person with the right to say, I got this right and you got this wrong. Woo, well done, mate. Go you. And again, just leave the comment. You don't have to respond to it. Mind you, I have done it in the past where my usual concept is to respond and like and react to comments that are made under my videos and my live streams to, you know, build up the community and say hi to everyone. And if you ignore them, then they kind of notice, but that's okay. They'll deal. So, I should probably get on with my script, Zoe, shouldn't I? I've got 10 minutes. We'll probably go over. I don't know. I'll get some dinner later. But what I want to get you guys to focus on when it comes to that fear of rejection, that inherent gut, breast, head, I was trying to make a point of just like, fear of rejection, or your fear of no one's going to like me, everyone's going to hate me. Just remember that when you're putting something out there for people to watch, you're doing it, get there, Justin. A lot of the time it's just jealousy because you're doing what you wish they could do. I see as a sign you're doing something right. That is so true, Justin. Anyone who's wondering who I'm referring to is Justin Brown of Primal Video, who's running a YouTube workshop, YouTube presentations at the moment, this morning, tomorrow morning, and the morning after that. So check out Primal Video. He does a lot of good stuff. Not that I wish to be like you, but, you know, I'll be the female version of you. Cool. So, well, inherently we're doing two different businesses, but I regress and I will stop doing that. But the reason that, as Justin mentioned, a lot of people will make these comments because they are inherently not doing what you're doing. If, you know, say for example, if someone makes a comment on one of your videos and, you know, you check out their profile, they haven't created any video content, they're passionate about cooking, but, you know, there's no posts about cooking. No worries, Justin. There's nothing about cooking on their profile, and I'm not saying that people who have a passion inherently express it that way, but when people, you can usually tell, or you can usually see when they're not living out their dream, they're living their 9 to 5, usually more, because we're in Australia and we like to work overtime, and they're just not living their dream, and they're spiteful and angry, and they want to target someone who they see, possibly you and probably you, because you're doing what you want to achieve. You're chasing your dreams. You're actively creating content because you want to serve. And that's why you're doing videos. You're not doing it for your ego. You're not doing it because you like it, even though that kind of helps. You're doing it because you want to serve people. You want to help people along their way. You want them to achieve the solution to their problem. And that's the main reason why you're doing videos. I'm not saying that's the only and inherent reason, but it's always a good place to start when that's why you're doing these videos. And the people who comment negatively, mockingly, poop comments. There's another way to say that word, but I'm going to try not to swear as much. Thank you, Justin. Thank you for popping in. When those people make those type of comments, they're doing it because they want to be like you. They're being spiteful because they're jealous of what you have achieved, of what you're going to achieve and what you will achieve because of the work that you're doing. So always think, whenever you see a bad comment or you're worried about what people will say negatively, think about as not a fail or the fear of you being rejected by your audience. Remember, it's usually one person. One off-fleeting person who's found your content on a whim, or maybe who's followed you a little bit and then just decided to put something negative down for the hell of it. Like I said, they're not going to feel any consequences from it, and neither should you. And what I mean by that is that the comment that they're going to put down, don't feel like it's a failure on your part. Don't feel like it's a failure on you, on what you've accomplished and what you're doing because of that one, or maybe a couple of little posts. Most of the time it will be negative because the community that you would surround yourself with are people who, enjoy your content, or people who want to learn from you, or who want to become potential and hopeful customers of yours in the future, because that's what they want to achieve. So never think of those comments as negative. Now, flipping that a little bit, never feel like you failed because you haven't got a response. Never feel like that you've, inherently done, exploded into a plume of absolute failure because you haven't got a response on your video, or a comment or a like or a view. That could be for a million of reasons. I couldn't come up with a word just then. But this reason could be you either, posted the video at not a great time, keeping in mind that something like 200 hours of videos are posted every second on YouTube, like every day, 200 hours every second. So maybe you just didn't reach the right people. Maybe you didn't post enough. Or maybe the topic wasn't interesting enough. And with live streams, maybe you didn't live stream at the right time for your particular audience. There's always a good chance that the audience that you're thinking about or working with may not be the right ones. Now, I'm not trying to put you down and saying that your answers or what you're thinking about is inherently wrong. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that when trying something new, there are going to be pitfalls, and there are going to be times when you stumble, fall over, but we need to get back and move on. And that's the same thing when it comes to that fear of being rejected. Like I said, that fear of being rejected because you've got no communication, or fear of being rejected because you've got negative communication. Get in the middle. Focus on that positive negative. I was about to say positive negative. Focus on that positive communication. You have friends, people that you are supporting, people that are supporting you in return, your local communities, people that you've met in business, in networking. Hint, hint, I'm going to have a couple of new videos on hinting. hinting, a couple new videos on networking soon. And the people that you meet and people who will support you and grow your community online, that's the people you want to focus on, not the negative people. And Matthew just said, if you do a live and if you do a live and getting attention, they are jealous because they are too afraid to do it themselves. And that is true, because they will have those fears that you've already overcome to be live and talk to your audience and find the best time to speak to your audience, which actually took a bit of time. For those who have been with me for a little while, before I got sick, I tried a few. My life is full of positive and negatives and negative positives. Thank you, Matthew. That's a great quote. Before I got sick, I tried a couple of live streams, like in really early in the morning when I could get up at like 5 without even trying. That's not how it works now. Or that time when you could be like, going live in the middle of the day. I tried different times to go live just to see what would work with my audience. And right now I'm finding that 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. on a Tuesday night seems to work. And most of the time it is my Friday night, so I take Wednesdays and Thursdays off because usually I work on weekends, and at the moment I need the 2 days to rest. Probably most of the other days too. but I am moving that around in my schedule to make it work for me. Why did you stop? I don't need you to stop. So for those, just to let you know that I've gone live and it has stopped me from going live. The internet is still going. And okay. G'day everyone again on Instagram Live. I was live and now I'm not. And now I am. So that was rather interesting. So we'll see how that goes. And what I want to quickly look at. Mind you, I must say, I am learning the wondrous world of trying to make sure. G'day. Ow, my head. G'day, Veronica. I promise I am not too high on any drugs. I'm just very awake today. Okay, so what I was trying to do just before Instagram just went, probably because I ran out of time limit. No surprises there. What I want to talk to you guys, continue talking to you guys about, is looking at my notes here on the screen, is think about projection. Project yourselves into those people's lives. People that are being negative online, probably they're doing it for a reason. And like I said, in my other examples throughout this live stream, is think about that little annoying kid that you remember from daycare or primary school that was, that little annoying little person, I'm not going to say a bad word, who would do terrible things or do negative actions inherently just to, stir up trouble and get attention negatively. Hello, what's up?
How long? Give me a call?
No worries.
Around roughly, because I'm gonna get a call from the security. They ask us what time you're gonna put the alarm on. So
cool. So I'll probably be done another 15
minutes.
Yep.
Okay, I'll wait then.
Okay. All good. So thank you for that distraction. That was just the security guys here at where I have my office, they're making sure that they lock down the place and making sure that, we're not running around and doing anything bad. And I'll be here tomorrow morning anyway. So what I want to quickly do is I might touch on this episode again, because I find that we've had our hour for this evening and I haven't exactly gone through my script entirely, which isn't always a bad thing. And what I wanted to do was, what I will do is that I'll probably copy this in the future and then do it again in the future where I'll talk a little bit more about the rejection side of it and talk about other points. The other points I had was to, like I mentioned just before, about projection, project yourself into that person who's making the comment. Remember, they have no consequences. They have no real bad vibes coming from what they're doing because they're getting negative attention. That's all they really want. So think about that whenever you're about to take action on a bad comment that is appearing under one of your videos or maybe someone else's. Think about, g'day Adrian, think about, what is it like in their shoes? Are they just making this stupid joke because they think they're funny? Well then, they're clearly not. Let them know that. Think about the actions of what they're doing and why they're taking those actions. And like I said, ignoring is always a good option. Yes, and also another point I had in the future, and like I said, I'll probably go a little bit more in depth into this into a next video, is separating no from attacking. So making sure that, make it clear that just because someone doesn't inherently like you or your style doesn't mean they viciously hate you. So using that language and using that language in comments and posts or any form of rejection that you get, and think about, okay, what can I do differently? Should I take on this criticism at all? Another point I have just on my little point here is embrace the numbers game. As I mentioned just before in the live stream, hello to anyone just joining us now. Think about, most of the time you'll get that 1 or 2 negative comments, what have you. Like I said, usually trolls, people that don't inherently want to see you do well because they're not doing it themselves. But most of the time, 99% of your audience are there to positively support you. They want to know more from you. They want to ask questions, like you guys have been doing today throughout the entire live stream. So think about that. Just because you've got this one negative comment does not mean absolutely everyone hates you. Majority of your community, potential customers will like you and like what you do. And stop using rejection on yourself. Stop implying worthlessness in your content and what you do just because you feel that way and because you haven't outreached your comfort zone. I know it's hard, it's not always the easiest thing to do, but remember, you're doing it for other people. You're doing it for your potential customers, you're doing it for your customers, you're helping your customers with these videos, with the content that you're creating, and always remember and think about that. And don't forget to be specific in regards to if you are feeling this case of rejection or fear of rejection before going live, before filming a video. Are you feeling this way? For what reason? Oh, I'm in fear of what people may say. Well, be specific. Okay, I'm afraid of what people may say because they'll call me a poo-poo head. One, that's a bit childish of me. I'm sure people have a lot worse to say about me. But think about it. Okay, I'm being specific in regards to what I'm afraid of. Well, what is those words going to do to me? Are they going to hurt me? Are they going to stab me? Are they going to get me? Probably not. They're not going to viciously attack you. I'm not going to stop making that hand gesture. They're not going to specifically attack you. Okay, think about it logically. All right, this person won't really like me. Okay. Then what? They're not going to attack you. They're not going to hunt you down. And if so, we have guidelines for that and we have police for that. So if that's an issue, what are you really afraid of? Now, of course, fear isn't inherently a logical thing. It's a, soul thing. It's a heart thing. It's your brain's, I understand most of the thinking is in the brain, but what I mean by soul is that, when you're afraid, there is the fear of, okay, I'm afraid because of this. But just because you think about it and think about it logically does not make the fear go away. And it never will. But being able to break down your fear and be specific on what you're specifically afraid of will allow you to think outside the box and go, okay, I'm afraid of what people will say because I'm afraid that they're going to call me poo-poo head. Well, what can I do? Well, I can delete their comment. I can block them. I can take action to not make this a fear for myself anymore. And that's the same thing that you guys should be doing too with their videos and with their comments. So I'm going to be finishing up today's live stream. I've gone a little bit over and the security guys are just looking at me going, Zoe, hurry up because we want to lock up, despite the fact that you guys usually don't lock up till 8, but we're not going to discuss that. So what I will do for you guys is I will keep this live stream up on my YouTube channel, and I'll be dissecting bits and pieces of this for online content for our podcast. I'm thinking about putting together a podcast of all our live streams. Ooh, Matthew. So dinner time, but thank you, Zoe. Much appreciated. Great advice. Thank you, Matthew. And I'm glad you commented and let me know that you're enjoying the advice that we've got today. We are here every week from 6 to 7 at Australian Eastern Standard Time. We're here with I Want to Know. I'm coming up with a couple of title screens, a couple of color things, just to go along with the live streams that I do every week. So they're probably going to look a little flashier as we go along. We'll see how we go. But if there's anything that you want me to touch on, or if there's any specific subject that you want me to answer your questions on, then feel free to message me, join the Video Confidence crew and ask your questions there, and I'll create the content as we go along because I want to help you and help you guys succeed in your video journey. Now, I'm going to finish up before these security guards yell at me anymore. You know, they've got long hours, so do we. G'day again. Yes, I am going live because it didn't like me. But I'm going to finish up here. Hopefully I'll see some of you at the workshop, the Video Made Easy workshop on this Thursday at Creative Geelong, which is just over there for me because I'm doing this in my office. And if not, and if you're interested in podcasting, check out Podcasting 101, a profitable marketing strategy on Eventbrite. And we'll be doing the same thing on Wednesday with Dr. Jürgen Strauss, so we can have some fun. So I will finish up here. I am going to go home and do stuff. But my single call to action for you guys, as I've mentioned a couple right now, my single call to action is to join the Video Confidence crew. Is our Facebook group where you have full access to me, ask any questions, and anything that you want to know. The community, I'm sure, will be happy to help. So I'm going to finish off the live streams, and I hope you guys have a wonderful Tuesday night, and I'm going to see you. Cheers. All right, guys, wasn't that fun? Nothing went wrong. What am I kidding? Everything went wrong. Okay, we'll see. I don't know. Okay, so we're going to finish off. I'm going to go home and chill and then come to work again tomorrow. Woo. All right. Bye, guys. Cheers. All right. Wasn't that beautiful?